Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Girls, and Purrs. My name is Leslie, and you know what? It's not even the end of December, and I've waving my white flag on my project that I'm not done with. But December, I've been really slammed outside of like my bookish life, and so I already know what I'm not going to be able to go through. So the second half of the year was my second small shelf TBR project. And I still have 4 books to get through. So here's the deal. Those 4 books, I know we're going to show you the 4 books. If you've been on my channel, you already know which ones they are. And we are going to still read them. I'm just going to slowly read them next year, and this will all make sense later. But yeah, I mean, so many of the books that I read this year were incredible for this second small shelf, which it's all of these. Oh my goodness. These are the ones that I finished. The ones that I didn't, I just feel like the subject matter, they're all nonfiction. They're all like, they just felt like important to me to read this year. But again, it's not happening. And so that is the second by Carol Anderson, the second Race and Guns in Fatally Unequal America. So not getting to that one. On anti-Semitism, Jewish Voices for Peace, Solidarity, and the Struggle for Justice. I'm not getting to this one. And then The Tunnel, which I've been saying I don't think I'm going to get to. This is like my white whale. The Tunnel by William Glass. Yeah, this is my white whale that's been on my shelf for years, collecting dust. And I put it on my shelf and I thought, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year I'm going to get to it. Has not happened. Not going to happen. And then War and Peace, The End of Diplomacy and the Decline of American Influence by Ronan Farrow. Yes, these are all heavy hitters, great for conversation, and I'm just not going to get to it this year, and I have to just be okay with it. Oddly enough, I'm at peace with that. Usually, I want to say last December, I felt like I read like crazy. I could be wrong. And I just put a lot of pressure on myself. And no one else is doing it. It's just me. And so once again, those are going to be read next year. It's just not gonna happen. My stack that I did go through, plenty of it was Tommy Orange. My cats are fighting outside the door. Let's see how that goes. So yeah, I read a chunk with the focus on Tommy Orange. I have a whole other little mini wrap up focusing on him, and I have to say, if there was anything that was like an ongoing theme, is I think the idea of the American dream is basically like a nightmare in itself, and it's not really a dream. And I felt like that was like pretty much prevalent throughout the work, and just from the subject matter in the other books I was going to read, I feel like that would have been equally as true. So yeah, that's all I want to say about wrapping that up. I didn't want to repeat myself. I already have short book reviews for all of these, especially towards the end of the year. I was feeling kind of burned out, so I didn't really do spoiler chats on all of them, especially if I felt like I was going to be redundant or I couldn't find anything to like really create a conversation on my end. I try to just let it go. So yeah, so I'm still feeling good about that. All right, so I decided the wrap up for Storygraph is not ready. Storygraph, if you're not familiar with it, it's an app where you can just record all the books that you're reading, and just like Spotify spits out a wrap up, Storygraph spits out a wrap up as well. It's just not available yet, but I'm fine with that. I want to get this done because I just have some prep to do for next year, and I'd rather that be my focus rather than the wrap up. I know what I read last year, so at least that's how I felt. Here's a question. How do I add this? Here we go. All right, so here's Storygraph. So basically, my reading goal, here's the thing. I actually don't really focus on how many books I'm supposed to read. I don't think that's very helpful, um, especially to like my mental state. I'll get wrapped up on a number, and then it shouldn't be about a number. It should be about like the content of what I'm reading and what am I getting from it, and also how do I get better at creating critiques, which is also definitely going to be a focus for next year. So I put down 40 books and I read 52. Um, Also, just so you know, I'm still going to have a like maybe a short book review for Margaret Penard's Orla Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune. And the last segment for this year is going to be my book chat with Sam, who's my friend. She's not on YouTube, but she just comes along for the ride, which I feel very thankful for because I don't think I could do those buddy reads on my own. So especially for like romance. Oh yeah, and we're gonna be discussing Scottish Christmas by Emma Bennett. So that's coming up, and it's also all the information's on my YouTube because I already have it available to schedule. It's gonna be on the 21st. So the average time I finished is like 6 days, which is great. That sounds about right because I could only read a book once within a week because of my schedule. I see other YouTubers, which I really admire. They read several and then kind of wrap up per week, which I wish I wish I could do that. It's not too much going on. I'm too much of an agent of chaos, but I really love that. I tend to love emotional, funny, dark, definitely. I definitely enjoy like a dark sense of humor, a material that's incredibly like reflective. So if you're kind of wondering what you're going to run into on my channel, it's definitely that adventurous, but that's really not my main focus. It's mostly just emotional and reflective. It's kind of like my go-to. But I love a dark sense of humor. Let me see. All this stuff, I can only handle medium. Um, I'm not really into slow pace again because I have such a crunch time. It doesn't really like work for me. And page numbers, what did I read that was 500? Oh, the reformatory. You see, I don't do good with big books. I like the reformatory. I really liked it. And it's definitely, there's so much conversation to have around it. But yeah. Here's another thing. I read way more I read way more fiction this year than I did nonfiction. And last year it was split 50-50, and I want to go back to that. I don't like when I end up reading more fiction than nonfiction. I want it to be right there down the middle. It definitely wasn't planned, but also there were so many great writers that came around, like Tommy Orange or what's her name? Angie Alita Newell that like really blew me away, and those were works of fiction. And so this ended up being reflected in what I read this year. And what was my challenge this year? My challenge was to read one romance a month, and I did that, and I think I even read a little more this year. And I'm grateful for that. I learned so much about romance. I have still so much more to learn. So what I learned is that when it comes to the romance genre, apparently romance should always end with like the couple getting together, which I don't really know if I like that because maybe I'm thinking about movies. Sometimes when it comes to movies and there's movies where people don't end up together, but there's still like this love there, I tend to get swept up in writing like that. But I guess it's more literary fiction and movies rather than romance. Seems to like be a particular formula when it comes to romance. And maybe that's why sometimes I have a hard time with it. But I can also see why people love romance so much, because there's also a comfort of knowing that there's a comfort in predictability, I guess. But I definitely find myself growing like way more fond of romance than I ever thought. And that is just in terms of great storytelling that I've come across. Contemporary, historical are right on par. I read way more fantasy than I did last year, because last year I wasn't reading a lot of fantasy, and also it's not my go-to genre. Literary is. I definitely read way more horror than I usually do. And then I always have that LGBTQIA plus rep. Every year I have that. But yeah, and also short stories. Short stories and anthologies are like my jam. So I want to continue that next year, but we'll see. It's going to be a bit of a live wire as far as like what I'm tackling. And because I interviewed Margaret Pinard this year, and I also focused on reading their work, and they have so much more work that I haven't read. They are like the most read author. They're right in the middle of putting out what will basically be like a trilogy, I think. So I read at the tail end of reading the Orla Rafferty, Seeks Her Fortune. But then there's 2 more. So I'm hoping by the time I've read more books, not just the trilogy, but the other, I think she has like 2 other books that I haven't read. I would really like to have her on again and kind of trying to discuss what else I noticed in her work, and, just get a chance to ask questions. I had an interview with her this year, and I actually felt really good about it. And so much stuff I throw out into the YouTube world, I feel like I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall, and I don't know what's going to happen. But I'd have to say that interview is something that I'm like the most proud of this year. I wasn't planning on it, and I just feel really excited about it, I guess. Hannah Madam Young is a romance author, and they're definitely one of those authors, just like Emma Bennett, when you kind of see below, that I ended up really enjoying their storytellings. There's something else I read about from them that was like a little bit a miss, but I'll talk about that later. But overall, really enjoy their writing. Lila Sage is like at the top when it comes to romance right now, because she has that, I'm gonna mess up the name, Rebel Ranch romance series. Even though I really liked the first book from that series, I was pretty critical. And then I read the other 2 books that she has in succession. Obsessed. I'm totally obsessed. If I had the money to burn, I'd buy all the merch, because there are some official merch that's out there. And she just wrote a romance series, and I think why I enjoy it so much is a focus on family. And that goes the same thing for movies. If I'm seeing a movie and it happens to be romance, I want to see well-rounded characters from the family, not just from the main characters. And that's what Lila Sage does really well. There's just this really caring and loving environment, and I'm here for it. Tananarive Due, I did just mention the Reformatory, but I also read, she was contributed to like a short story collection, and that I read recently. So that was for my first small bookshelf. I'm sorry, I feel like my shade's about to fall. David O. Romero, I read 2 of his poetry collections. One was at the beginning of the year, my small bookshelf. And then I read another one, and I think it was just kind of like, I just kind of squeezed it in. Both of them are poetry. He's actually local to me. I think he's often like Diamond Bar area, but I do follow on Instagram, and I see that he tends to have like local events to my area. So that's pretty cool to have like a local author close by. And so, Anne Rice, I wasn't even planning on reading Anne Rice this year. It was just because I have been binge watching so many people react to Interview the Vampire television show that you already know that I'm obsessed. And so I'm trying to hold myself off, or like occupy my time until season 3 comes along, because I already miss that show so much. I'm just as like, I don't know, this television show being on again has reignited my hyperfixation in like a whole other level. And so yeah, as you can see, my reading has plummeted, and it's gonna stay there. There's not much else that's gonna go on. So that's basically why I wanted to do this, because I can already see how my month is going. So again, waving that white flag, I'm still feel very proud of everything I've done. I think I've kept up pretty well with my ratings, because I just feel like I love books. So then I also revere the authors. So I want to just make sure that I make the time to put out reviews out, and hopefully that'll like boost their work, you know. But yeah, so that's it for the wrap up. I wish that the how could I say it? I wish the where is my brain? That the wrap up is available, but it's not. And I just have so many other things going on before the end of the year hits. And I could feel like I'm starting to feel a little bit anxious about other things in my life that I get squared away. So the reading has just taken a back seat. But you know, it's a good adjustment to like focus on next year, which is going to be the next topic. Um, Here's something that I kind of seem to have learned from watching like the booktube world around here, and that is that how do I say this? The ones that seem to be like successful, I guess you could say, is because they picked a particular like niche or a particular genre and like stuck to just that. But that's not really how I am. I I will never just stick to one genre. For me, for my reading pleasure, for this YouTube channel that I started, I feel like I like reading all genres, fiction, nonfiction, just as long as the focus is more set on social injustices. That's just like my go-to. I'm just hard set that way. And so I wanted to kind of, you know what? Here, I'll show you an example, because I kind of feel like because of that, here, let's go. I'm going to share the screen in just a second. Let's see if I do this right. Every time I switch this around. Nope, not it. Here we go. All right, so I already have like here, like book reviews, spoiler, non-spoiler. My romance reading challenge, which is coming to a close. So this is going to change. Productivity sprints are going to still happen. I'm still going to have like impromptu reading sprints, but I'm also going to have them scheduled out. Actually, I realize I'm kind of jumping ahead, but here we are. And I still have that fervent love of Interview with the Vampire. Like, and as long as the television show is going on, that's gonna be a focus. Okay, so it kind of seems like my I don't know, maybe my channel seems like a little bit all over the place. But I'm okay with it, and I kind of feel like I want to push against the idea that I have to just stick to like one genre, or I don't know. I just that's never going to be me. So to make my channel a little bit cohesive, I have plans, everyone. I have legitimate plans. So actually I can add this to stage. I keep forgetting I could use these. After all this time, I'm still getting used to this format. I'm going to share something. I'm just like, how do I do this? It's slow rolling over here. All right. How do I? Ta-da! Eventually, I'll get to it, okay? All right. So far we've done a book wrap up. We discussed Storygraph. So my wrap up overall. Now I want to discuss what I want to do next year. I'm actually really excited. All right, so here we go. So because I'm just like an agent of chaos and I have all my different loves of literature going on, I want to just kind of put them all together. And also, we are still waiting for season 3 of Interview with the Vampire to come out, and I am jonesing for more. I've been watching different people to react to the television show, and so that's coming to an end. I see plenty of people watching the finale of season 2, and so yeah. Anyways, so this is what I'm gonna do. I have a TBR project, and it's gonna go for a while. Um, Here you go. How do I do this? Oh, okay. Here we go. I'm supposed to press enter, everyone. All right, everyone. So this isn't going to be a 2-year project. So this is going to be for 2025 and 2026. The reason why is I'm going to be reading from all these different characters from Interview with the Vampire from their bookshelf. And each project or each TBR is basically going to take me 2 months. So if I did all these characters, which are 8, if I did all of them and I didn't do anything else, I would be done in a year. But I think what would happen is if I did that, I would get big time book burnout. And it's not going to be good because I kind of felt like that's what happened to me on and off this year. And so each character, like Louis has 8 books. They all vary. It's not for any particular reason. It just has to do with like what kind of prompts I could create. So it's going to be from their bookshelf. They're all going to have prompts. So you could either read the exact same books that I'm reading, or you could do your fulfill the prompts however you interpret them. And then, after each segment, I'll still release this on Instagram for anyone that follows me on Instagram, so you have like that reference. And for each TBR video, I'm going to try to like wear something inspired by the characters. So I already have an outfit picked out for Louis, and he's the first character I'm going to read from. And also another restriction for myself is all the books that I'm reading for this project only has to be for my bookshelf. It can't be regarding any any purchases. I'm there is going to be an exception for purchases, but it has nothing to do with this project. All these books that I'm going to read are from my bookshelf only. And I'm trying to remember. All right. So another thing is I do have some books on my shelf that I think it's time for me to like let them go. So for my TBR video, like at the end, I'll give you an emoji. I'll give you something to write in the comments. And then by the end of the month, I will choose a winner. I'll like, it'll be random, like a raffle. And I'll send someone like a hardback copy of a book that I have. It will be gently used. I love to highlight the snot on my books, and write in them. So if that doesn't interest you, then just don't participate. But I just thought that would be kind of like something fun to do, and a great way for me to let go of some of my books instead of being the vicious hoarder that I am. So yeah, I'm covering Louis, Malloy, Armand, Claudia, Lestat, and Madeline. And I am choosing the first character, but after that, I'll put a poll and it'll be in my community tab. And so you'll be able to basically vote for who's the next character you want me to read from their bookshelf. Okay, so that's basically how that's going to go. Um, oh, and additionally, like I said, it's going to be 2 years instead of one. So what I'm doing is I'm going to tackle one character for 2 months, and then I'm going to take a break. A break meaning I'm just going to be doing a totally different like project in between, and then I'm going to go back on a month for 2 months. So that's why I'm like tackling 4 characters one year and then 4 characters another year. All the slides that have photos, like actual slides, as you can see, I already have them set. Everything's done. The only 2 characters that I don't have done are Akasha and Gabriel, but we're going to read from those characters probably in 2026 because we haven't seen them on screen yet. And I'm basing a lot of my the choices I made for the prompts on the television version of the characters. And I also need those visuals to put together the prompts, which will make way more sense once once the TBR video comes out. I hope you're able to join me. I already have it booked on YouTube. I'm gonna go live for that one, and so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so I already numbered these. So January, February, April, May, June, July, August. Oh no, October, November are gonna be like when I'm doing the Interview the Vampire inspired reading project. And then all these different breaks, I'm going to be doing something else. And so as you can see, I already have 2026 mapped out. It's going to be the same thing, just different characters. So yeah, those breaks are basically what we're going to discuss next. All right. So during the break, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a buddy read. I lassoed Sam, who's read a couple of books with me on this channel into doing this. We're not doing it every month. It's only during these break times that I'm showing you. So Lust and Lawless will happen on March, June, September, and December. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna read one romance, and then we're gonna read one book that's like, I guess you could say like a murder mystery. But here's the caveat, which is that both of these books have to involve food. So it has to be like the culinary world. So it has to be either savory or sweet, basically. And Lust and Lawless is a title that Sam came up with. Thank goodness, because I liked it. I was trying to make something like more, a play on words with something in the culinary world, and I couldn't come up with anything. And like we were running down to the last minute. So I decided, you know what, that's the best title we've come up with. So that's what we're going to do. So basically we're doing this every 3 months. I'm also going to do buddy reads, not just for my TBR project, but in the off months, I would really like to. There's a romance I wanted to read with Nkechi from City Girl Writer, and it was a book that they brought up. I think it's called Reel, Reel, and it's a romance. And so at some point I'd like to. I have not, we agreed to buddy read, but we haven't gotten there yet. Also, Community Corner was supposed to happen the middle of this year, and it just never happened. And it's not that I didn't want to. The problem is me, clearly, because I was not carving out the time to make it possible. So I have this like idea that I'm really excited about, but I'm not doing it, and it's bothering me. So that's also why my 2-year TBR project that's basically inspired by Angry Vampire is happening the way that it is. I need to carve out a break for me, like a break from a project, so that I could focus on other people in my community, my local community that I want to spotlight. And I think that would probably be like the biggest disappointment of 2024 is me not making that happen. And also, author focused interviews. This may not happen every time during the break. This is more like a variable. So I do have an interview lined up, which is so funny. I was so trying to like pull back on things during so this would be March, that I'm already thinking about, but I already lined up another interview. Go figure, I would do that. September is my birth month. And so I have a special project where all of these different elements are not going to happen. The only thing that's going to be like solidly always happening is Less Than Lawless. But for my birthday month, buddy reads most likely aren't going to happen. Community corner is not going to happen, and author interviews. September is like a special month where I have something going on that I cooked up sometime this year, and I want to stick to that plan. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it surprise for later, and then like right at the beginning of September, I'll announce it. But that's just gonna be a very special TBR project. All right, now I'm doing something that I have no clue how to do. I'm launching a membership. You know what? I'm not a confident person, but I am Delulu, and we're gonna stick with that. That's gonna be my mantra for 2025, which is just not confident Delulu. So on membership, I am gonna move my spoiler corner to that. Wrap ups. I do want to do a wrap up for each character, but I think I want to do that on membership because it's not so much going to be about the book, it's going to be about the characters. This will make sense once I do it. I want to do watch parties, so I did put specifically here like Interview with a Vampire watch party when it comes on for season 3. I did that this year for the first time for season 2. Oh, there's my rice cooker. There it goes. All right, sorry about that. What was I saying? I do want to have watch parties for other shows. Like, for instance, there was a show that I really like right now called Get Millie Black. I don't see anyone reviewing it right now, and it's so frustrating because I was hoping someone would do a reaction or an episodic review, and yeah, no one's doing it. And so I'm like, I want to watch party. I need to talk to somebody about this. I also want to do like a journal party. So I want us as a collective to be able to like do that together, discuss like what works best for you, so we could learn together. I also want to do concept videos and vlogs, and I want to do like handcrafted merch. I really like making book cozies, so that's gonna be a thing. And like I just want to make things that are like bookish related, so that'll all be a part of membership. And let's think. Am I almost done? I'm trying to remember where I was at so I don't forget anything. But if you have any other merch ideas, let me know and I'll consider it. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So my goal overall is to tackle 4 characters. So that's what I'm going to be able to get through. I'm going to get through 50 books, that's going to be a breeze. I'm basically just on average counting how many books per character. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to go over that. Again, my focus has never been how many books I read. That's never going to be a thing. But Storygraph creates it, so I just plug in something. I also want to focus on more buddy reads. That's something else I want to do, and I'm in terms of my goal. So after each character I tackle, and I don't know if it's going to be on the second month or if it's going to be at the end of every month for my TBR project, but I want a buddy read, and I want to reach out to people that have read the books or have that I know that are like invested in the show, so that we could talk about the book, but maybe at the end we'll talk about like a little bit how it relates to the character, why this character has this book on their shelf. I just think that would be kind of cool. And lastly, more defined critiques. And so I'm gonna I know there's like the tenets of literature, but I really want to look at like how each genre is defined, plot, pacing, conflict, climax, and resolution of the story, character, which includes like the evolution of the character. development and writing style. And probably the most important to me this year was context clues, themes, overall structure. But yes, context clues, because I've definitely noticed that that's been probably like my major critiques of certain writers. It's just there's either an info dump or not enough context clue. So I'm looking for that balance when I'm reading. And so that's going to be a big part of how I move forward in like critiquing the material. But I just want to do a better job of like defining that for you as you read along with me here. Oh, I just clicked on the wrong one like I always do. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. So it's going to be a lot, but I'm so excited. I'm genuinely feeling like so excited about next year, actually for the next 2 years. So yeah, if you've been here this whole time, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. I did notice like an uptick in members. And actually, now that we are done, I wanted to take the time to shout out, since this is a wrap up, other YouTubers. I almost forgot to do this. I always do this during a wrap up. I don't do it often in between because I just realized I get a little bit, I think I get concerned that I'm going to miss people or won't be able to keep track. So let's do that right now before I forget. I'm trying to look for someone's channel right now that I know I want to highlight. But you know, I get so many notifications on here. Let's see. The amount of notifications I have is like out of control. Here we go. All right, sorry for the delay. Let me get this together. All right, so this channel recently popped up in my algorithm, and this is so cute. Turning Pages with Paul and Leslie. I like it because their segments are always them together. And so they're a team. Team Taylor educates, informs, and inspires others to live with passion and pursue their purpose in life. This channel will provide helpful ways to improve your everyday life while enjoying a great book. This couple loves reading books. And so, yeah, I've already started watching a couple of theirs. Getting to know you. They just have some really, in fact, the next time I do a tag in January, I'll tag them because they're just so lovely. I've really enjoyed their content. Let me see who else I'm going to pull really quick. I don't want to keep everyone too long. All right, I'm going to bring someone else up that I know I've talked about before. And I don't think you're going to be, I'm a member of their channel. So I just realized you probably won't be able to see this typically. All right, I have a membership with My Sweet Perspective, Ashley. They are so much fun. They do a lot of like how I would do buddy reads. They do like buddy watch-alongs. And so they're doing the Scrooge right now, and they just had my top 10 Christmas movies ranked. And so it was Ashley with Nikki from I forgot their horror channel name. I'll tell you right now. Oh, A Night of Horror. I should know their name by now. From A Night of Horror. And that was just like so much fun. Actually, all these ladies, struggle reviews, I already mentioned them before. I guess what I'm trying to get to is I like their watch alongs. I love their like ranking segments. So if you're into that, especially right now, I'm bringing this up because it's December. And so they're just having these really cool like watch alongs that I'm really into, and I'm always cracking up when I'm watching their channel. So just like keep that in mind, you know, if you want to watch something beyond like bookish content. Should I? I'm trying to stick to book channels, but sometimes I want to go off into other stuff. How about sorry, my computer is going a little bit slow. Here we go. All right, here we are. We have Cobalt Dragon. I think I might end this here and just talk about her channel, which is Elaine. This is such a cute channel. So she just loves reading, nature, um, talks about making connections through learning. And so I've noticed they have a lot of like book chats, just and it feels like casual. I very much feel like it just feels like, oh, I could just chill and watch this. And I've really enjoyed it. She also does like oh, what do you call it? Like kind of like short book reviews, I want to say, but also has segments talking about their cats. And you know, I have my two cats, so I love this. But it was just, and also definitely does book tags. So um Elaine has done plenty of book tags that I've really, really enjoyed. But yeah, she's an absolute joy. And so I'm always happy to check out their channel. So I did not want to end this segment without talking about other channels to highlight. And I almost messed up and forgot. So thank goodness. Um, let's see if I could get out of what I'm at. All right, everyone, if you stayed for this segment that got turned really, really long, but I had a feeling that was going to happen. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for everyone that subscribed recently. It just feels really nice to like make new connections in this space and get to know everyone better. And also, you know what? It's like such a lovely, I guess you could say, hobby of mine to watch other people talk about movies or books. And so, you know, going beyond the book and the movies and seeing other people react or discuss that is just, that's like my jam. So thank you for everyone for your support. I love you to pieces. I hope the rest of the year goes well for you. And I'll see you next time. See you in the chat.